2021, and this is your new Windsor Town Council meeting. If you will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I will remind you that this town meeting is recorded by electronic means and that the meeting will follow an agenda. Anyone who wished to have a matter placed on the agenda needed to submit the topic to the mayor in writing by the last Wednesday of the month, by the close of the business day, which is 3 p.m. Those items will be reviewed for approval. I will make one change to the attendees expected, and that will be Town Manager Gary Dye. He's with us virtually today. And then we will move on for the approval of the minutes for July 7, 2021 Town Council meeting. Did everybody get a chance to read those over?
I'll make that motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. We'll move on to the mayor's report. It's been a pretty busy month for the town of New Windsor. I've been meeting with different municipalities on their current virtual setup, both audio and video. I will be doing my last one on the 7th of this month in Hampstead, being that Tawny Town. I was going to go over there, but they had theirs on the same night as ours, so I'll be attending Hampstead to see what they got going on over there. I had a meeting with the sheriff about, the expectations of the policing here in town. It was a fruitful meeting. He's a very nice guy. And with that said, we'll move on to the council committees.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Too. Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
With the meeting with the other municipalities, can you give us an idea of what they're using in terms of?
I will.
Okay.
And what I've been doing was reaching out. I reached out to CMC. They do us quarterly here at our town hall, and basically each town hall adapts their own sort of setup to get what they need for their municipality.
Okay.
So they might not have the same issues as us, or
Right.
they might not have the same issues. We might not have the same issues as them. So it's different per each one. But I've been in touch with Bradley, and he explained his system to me. CMC guys reached out to me and let me know what some of their systems, do, and it's similar to what we have right now.
Right now. You mean with CMC here, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
again, this would be the town of New Windsor system.
Right.
He sent to me a whole list of material, costs and things of that nature that I have and just haven't released to you guys yet because I was waiting to see what Hampstead has to offer,
Okay.
in the same manner.
All right. And then secondly, you said you had a meeting with the sheriff in regards to policing.
Yeah, he reached out to me. He just wanted to have a meeting, let me know, he basically introduced me to a lot of his staff. There was 13 members of the sheriff's office here, 10, something of that nature. There was a bunch of them. And we just chit-chatted about, Brian Caluzzi, what he's about, what he does, and things of those nature.
Okay. Are they going to, is there going to be more to come with that? Just,
No, it was just a basic introduction.
Okay.
The main focus of the meeting was just an introduction and what each member of his staff does and what they control.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. We're going to move on to community enhancement with Councilwoman Gribben Lindemann.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And if you could pull up that first banner quote, not the banner quote, I'm sorry, the wreath quote. It should be the first email on there. And while he's doing that, I will talk a little bit about the new park on the corner of Main and High Streets. And they installed the fountain this week and a light in there, and I think it's looking really good. So I think that phase 1 is almost all complete now. So the rest of it, I think, is going to be done next year. So that's so far for the town park. And as far as, I've been working pretty hard on the whole situation with the Christmas decor and the banners, because we really need to make a decision tonight on the wreaths for the town for Christmas, because we need to get that in so that we get them in time for Christmas so that we can put them up. So I got quotes for, well, first of all, we had some questions about whether it should be wreaths or snowflakes. And so we put a survey on Facebook, and 2 to 1 people really wanted the wreaths. And about 60 people replied, and more than 2 to 1 was for the wreaths. So I went and looked for the wreaths. And since my budget was $25,000, everything's gone up since I'm sure that they were bought the last time. So I couldn't get quite as big a wreath as I got the last time. So the wreath that I'm looking at that I think will be good is a 3-foot wreath. So I have given you guys the quotes for these things, and I think Andrew's pulling
It's up there,
that
yes.
up right now. And so I'm going to make a motion that we accept this quote for 45 wreaths from Holiday Outdoor Decor. And the price of the wreaths is $17,275.80. And that includes the price of the brackets, and the lights on there are replaceable. It has 2 bows that come with each wreath, and there's 2 bows so that the bow can be seen on each side of the wreath when it hangs up. And I would also suggest adding another fee to that for $225 to get the gold trim on the edge of the bows, because it just pumps those wreaths up so incredibly with the gold on there, that trim. Doesn't sound like much, but it makes a huge difference. I mean, I've been looking at all the pictures, and I really think that would be worth it for $225.
Do your microphones all work?
Yes.
Could you speak in the microphone so that people can hear you? Maybe have it.
Those microphones are for the virtual. There's no amplification in here. So I guess if you could speak a little bit louder.
Okay, I'll use my teacher voice. All right, so what I'm saying is that this is a really good price on the wreaths. The next quote that I got was $2,000 higher, and then the third company that I reached out to never sent a quote to me. So and this is the company that we have been dealing with all along. This is Riley Outdoor Decor. And I felt like they gave me a really good price on this. And like I said, I don't know if you heard, I was talking about the bows. And each wreath comes with 2 bows, so that there's one on the front and one on the back of the bow. So that, no matter what side of the wreath you're on, you can see the bow on there. And the extra $225 would give us gold trim on those bows, which really, it just makes the wreaths look much more regal up there. And I think it would, for $225, I think that would be worth it. So that's not included in the quote here. But this quote does show shipping costs, but they are approximated. So, it's going to, fluctuate just a little bit on that. But I really feel like this is a good quote for us, and this is for 45 wreaths. We only have 40 poles, but that gives us 5 extra wreaths in case there's a problem with one, that we have an extra one to put up, because, over time,
Right.
we're going to have some issues, and if you don't order it now, you're never going to get the exact same thing. So I thought that was a good deal. So do you guys have any questions about the wreaths? Yes.
Yes, and ordering them now would get them in time for the holiday season?
That's what I've been told.
Okay. And did they give you a specific, are they going to give you a specific time? Is it dependent upon placement of the order?
Well, I think if we approve this tonight, that we can work on getting this done within the next couple of days, I imagine, in the office here. And I think as soon as we call it in, they'll give us a date when they feel like they
Okay.
can have it done by. All the wreaths are made in the United States,
Okay.
so I liked that too.
And this is for the brackets as well?
Yes, the brackets are included
So
in
this
that.
$17,275.80 is a complete package for 45 wreaths with the gold trim and the brackets?
The gold trim is not included in that, so
So
that would be an extra
what would that-
$225.
Per
For the whole thing.
unit? Or
No.
just altogether?
Altogether,
It would be that plus
$225. And then there might be a little bit of a fluctuation in the shipping cost.
It says shipping is $786.
But, the wreaths have a little weight to them, and there's going to be 45 of them. And, the price of shipping has gone up, so,
Yeah, the wreath said online they weigh 27 pounds each, so that's quite a shipping charge.
Right.
One question I had, I saw that you had another quote from Display Sales, I think it was called.
yes.
Now, one of the things is I was actually looking at both pictures of them on display. And one of the things I liked about the Display Sales was they had, it was, I think, 5 less lights, LED lights in the wreath, but it had more of, you could see more of the wreath, whereas the picture online for the, for this one, I forget the name, but that one had, it was just light. The whole wreath was just light. And I don't know if that maybe was just a digital effect that they put on, or
Well,
if
I
it's...
think you're picking up on the fact that the wreath that is from Display Sales is actually 40 inches.
Okay.
So it's 4 inches bigger than the wreath that we would be getting with this. So, I mean, I really like that wreath too, and I liked dealing with them. I thought they were good, but I was thinking in terms of what the budget was and that sort of thing. That's, it's up, if you guys would prefer to go with that one, it's fine with me. I think you're getting a good deal either way.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if there was any reason why you preferred the one over the other.
It was pretty much budgetary.
Okay.
I like it.
So we need to decide what we want to do. So do we want to take a vote first to see which one we want to go with? Or I'll make a motion. Let's make
You
a,
need to amend your motion to include the
Total.
$225, if that's the way you want to go.
okay, I would like to amend my motion to include $225 for gold edging on the bows.
And well, so the total is going to be what now? Let me get this little calculator up here.
I think it's going to be $17,500.80.
So, is that all she's got to do then?
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Well, we should open the floor for discussion after the second, to see if there's any additional discussion before we vote.
Anyone else
on
have
it.
any others?
So I would like to ask, you said that they are 36 inches. Do we know how big the ones that we have on the poles now are?
Yes, because we ordered them a long time ago. Those are 4 feet, so this is going to be a smaller wreath. But as I said, the prices have gone up considerably in the 16 years since we bought the other ones. So the closest we're going to get, if we want to get a bigger wreath, which I would personally like the bigger wreath, but that would be the one from Display Sales. And the price on that one is, with the shipping and handling, that has been estimated as well, but that would be $20,405.
So my question on that is, do they still make a 48-inch wreath? Does any of those companies?
The next size wreath on Holiday Decor was 4.5 feet, and if we were to get 45 of them, it-
I was going to suggest, I don't believe that probably all 40 wreaths that we have are in such disrepair that they couldn't be used. I was wondering if it was possible to buy a certain quantity, maybe half of what we needed, and intermix them with ones that we still have, and then in a future budget, buy the rest. So we would break the purchase down. If in fact, getting the bigger wreath would show better as opposed to the 3-foot wreath. I don't know, it's a foot different. I don't know that I've seen to compare them in person. I was just throwing that out there. I'm not trying to throw a monkey wrench into it, but I was just,
I guess maybe Public Works Director, Ms. Myers, could say something about that, or Town Manager Dye. I don't I know that Wayne mentioned they were in bad shape, but I don't know what quantity of them were in bad shape. Wayne, can you hear me? There he comes.
Yeah, I can hear you, Kim. I think probably more than half of them are in really, really bad shape, wiring wise and just the structure of them.
Thank you, Wayne.
Well, the issue with also buying half of these to go with half of what we have, say, these, well, the ones that I could order would be 4.5 feet, and the ones we have are 4 feet, so it would still be a 5-inch difference. I mean, they wouldn't match exactly. They're not going to match exactly anyway because of the year's difference, and if we did that, we might want to buy extra bows so that at least the bows matched on all of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's worth getting into all that. I was just, especially since Wayne said that more than half are probably not maybe salvageable to continue use. Maybe that's not the way to go. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Well, then, I would like to make a motion that we accept, I mean, I don't know.
You made the
Yeah.
motion, now it's a
Now
vote.
the mayor's going to call the vote. Aye.
Aye.
What are we voting on?
We're voting on your motion.
Okay.
We have
Just
to make
wanted to
all
make
this
sure.
in favor for the funding of it?
Ayes have it,
Do we have to make a
5-0.
separate
Okay.
motion for the funding of it? Okay.
Because we already had it.
'Cause it's
It's already in the budget, yeah.
All right, the next thing I have is the Hometown Hero banners. And right now, we have 17 banners up in town that I counted. We have 2 damaged banners that are in the office. And so one of the things that we need to think about is, well, we want all the banners to match, and if we have a new company going forward, and more people are going to be ordering them, then we should probably redo the ones that were already up, because they're in kind of sad shape anyway. And so that's, I went ahead and got a quote for 25 banners, and if you can put that quote up, that would be, I think that was the third email. It's from Display Sales. So this is the other company. This is not the company that we, well, the company that we got the Hometown Hero banners from now is called Shannonbaum's, and one of the problems is we wanted something that was better quality. And I showed you banners the last time and how poorly they held up. And I got a banner from Riley's. I got it right here. Theirs is pretty much the same thickness and everything as the one that I showed you the last time. And the reason I really like the Display Sales is because the Display Sales has a double thickness of this sewn together. And in my mind, that's going to be a lot more durable. And the price was pretty much the same for both of them. So I put up the quote for the Display Sales on that. And this one, this quote, let's see. Well, there's 2 quotes actually on this. One is for the banners and the other is for the brackets. And so that's the last email on there,
Okay,
the
you
brackets.
want me to pull that up now?
Sure, and if you put the 2 of them together, the total is $3,450. So that would still come in well under our $25,000 budget and still leave a little bit of money for other banners that we wanted to get for the town. We still wanted to get some seasonal type banners and things like that. So I kind of felt like that this was a really pretty good deal for the brackets and the banners from Display Sales. So I guess I should make a motion to accept the quotes for that, and is there any questions about that? I would entertain any
So,
questions.
I guess so. My question was, the last meeting, you mentioned that a lot of them were in disrepair. But correct me if I'm wrong, Wayne, but there was a few that were in very bad condition, but there was also many that were still in okay condition. I mean, obviously, years of weathering, but still, holding up well, still you can see it. If we could just replace the ones that are torn, like the ones that you shown, do we have any estimates of how that would how many would need to be replaced versus replacing all 100?
Well, if we get it, I believe if we get it on a banner-to-banner basis, the base cost on that is $81. I'm going to double check on that, though.
Thank you.
So this is what she was quoted, and then these are the different ones for
And
quantity.
So that would be 25 only?
Right.
Okay.
And then if you want to just do it on an individual basis, it would be this figure.
Okay.
81 apiece.
Okay.
The Donna's thing.
You can hold it.
Oh, thank you.
But that $81 doesn't include, like, shipping on those individual banners and things like that. So I think when I was
Correct.
talking to Colina, I think she might be on, she was telling me that if people order them now, they're paying $100 as they order them, and that includes the banner and the shipping and everything. So, you know,
They give you a
that's,
better deal this way, it sounds like. Yeah.
well, the other thing is, you know, this all comes with brackets, too. The brackets are all included in that, and I think that some of the banners that are up now aren't really on these brackets as best they could be, and some of them, I think we could avoid some of them falling off and things like that if we were using these all have these grommets on the end, and they have a tag that you can put in there and put around the pole, too. So I think if we can utilize those grommets maybe a little bit more efficiently, we can probably get them to stay on the poles a little bit better. Any other questions on that?
Is there a time constraint that we're looking at, again, kind of like with the lead time thing, I know there are a lot of lead times that are extended right now
Right.
for anything that's being manufactured, so I didn't know if there was did we need the banners by a certain date, and is it a time constraint to get them by then, do you know?
Well, I think we have the banners up now. I mean, if we wanted new banners by, like, say, Veterans Day or something like that, that would,
Would be the Veterans Day.
Yeah, we
Right.
usually like to have them up for that, for sure, you know.
so if that was the case, then we would want to need to put it in as soon as possible.
I would hope we'd be able to get them by Veterans Day.
Well, if we're not doing all of them, if we're just doing ones that look like they're damaged, that would probably, you know, I mean, we'd have to go out and look at each individual one and determine which ones needed it. The problem is, they probably wouldn't all match. Do you want them all matching? That's the issue. Because every company does things a little different.
Donna,
and-
is this,
Councilwoman, is the quote for the same size that's up there now?
Yes, 24 by 30.
Okay.
Because I measured the banners that were there. Now, this banner is bigger, so this is,
For material wise?
right. And the material that's in display sales, this is the swatch I think I showed you last week, but there's two of these. Another one sewed on the back of it, and they'll be sewed together, so it's a double thickness of this. So, you know, I think our issue is that, you know, you don't want to put wind slits in a banner that has a person's face on it. You know what I mean? That's that doesn't look very nice. And so I really feel like that's going to give us the strength. And the price, we're even getting a better price from display sales on that than we got from, the other company is, let's see, it is Riley's. Yeah, we got a better space.
My question is,
Mm-hmm.
if it's a better price, would the price be adjusted for the people?
Well, that'd be fine with me, you know, I mean, I didn't know that was something I had to make an
Anybody
issue.
moving forward that's ordering one,
Instead of it's $100 now?
Yes.
Instead of 100, make it
that's because of that
80.
company we were using. That's
Mm-hmm.
what.
Well, I would suggest that we do that, you know, I didn't know that that was something that I needed to well, I guess that we all need to decide, you know?
I'm confused, Donna, can you explain what your question is?
Well, we don't know, I guess if you divided 25 into the shipping, that would tell you what each one was costing.
Probably be roughly around $85 per.
So, as opposed to we're tax exempt, so there's no tax. It seems to be somewhat cheaper than the 100. So why would we make folks pay 100? Is where I'm headed.
Thank you for your clarification. We would obviously not do that.
Right, I guess, I was just figuring it would be adjusted, because I don't know how they arrived at the $100. I mean, I guess that was based on the price from before, but it seems like it's high, because I would imagine the price before would have been lower than it is now. So I don't know how that a price was arrived at, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it would be the same way.
Okay,
It would be
It was division.
price per banner,
Yeah.
Right.
price per your
right.
shipping, but, I don't know. I'm just saying we can't expect folks to pay $100 for something
Right.
that is really not $100.
Yeah, so, I mean, so is there 25 total banners out there right now?
Right now, we have 17 banners that are up,
17.
2 that are damaged in the office. Colleen counted 20, and I think one of them is a banner that hasn't been produced yet. And she said that people had been calling in, but she had kind of told them to hold off for a little while because we
Till we
were
decide.
in, this whole thing was kind of in flux.
So people that wanted new ones made were calling in, you mean?
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, my thoughts is, I certainly like this company, how they are better quality and cheaper price. My only concern, though, is to order 25 if we only need, say, 6. I mean, you mentioned that there was 17 up currently. If we'd order 25, what will we do with the extra 4? I mean, because they're personal. I mean, so like you can't, get extras.
I mean, I think it would be a disservice to the veterans to have ratty-looking banners with, their face and where they're from on there. So I think if we're going to do it, or if you guys choose to do it, that we just get all complete new ones.
Well, I kind of agree with that because they're going to look different from the ones that are up there now. I mean, it might not be that much different, but if we're honoring the veterans, let's honor them in style. I mean, let's
Right.
make it look nice,
Correct, but what I'm saying is, if we're gonna order 25 and there's 17 out there,
This was just a quote. I mean, this is not, doesn't have to be written in stone if we don't.
okay, so I mean, if we adjust it to 17, that would also,
Adjust the price.
it would adjust the price back to the original amount though as well. We wouldn't get the discount of the 77.
Well, we have 19, counting the 2 in the office.
Well, I mean, on here it says that you have to have 25 to get the discounted price.
Right.
So even if we did 22, 23, 24, it would still be the full $81.
And then you're going to be up around the 100 again.
And then you're up around the 100.
I don't think Colleen is on the meeting tonight, but do you have any sense of how many people have asked? Did she give you any idea? Because if it was 3 or 4, it'd probably be worth go ahead with this.
I am not positive on that.
Okay.
I really don't know.
I guess my suggestion would be if we can get at least a few to bring it up to 25.
Or close to that.
Where we can get the reduced price, and at least then we can order it as, get saved. It's $4 per, but, it adds up after a little bit.
And I would venture to say that if we bought 17, the other people that have the old ones would want new ones, and we'd be buying 25 anyway. So,
But, I mean, we can't really order them until we have the names and the photos.
So do you know do you know, Sharon, do they want to produce them all at the same time? Or would be able to get the amount that we have now and just say, it sounds like they want to produce them all at the same time.
Well, I mean, they can produce them one by one if you want.
And still get that price?
Well, the issue is that you're paying the postage on each
Yeah.
one as you get it. You know what I mean? So that's where the difference gets a little bit bigger. If you order them one at a time and you're paying postage each time it's coming. However, these are not real weighty. I mean, Kevin, you can feel that one.
they've got a little weight to them. Would everybody like to see? I mean,
This is bigger than the one that we have in town. It's longer. It's the same width, but this is like, it's like 75 inches high or something.
Yeah. ours is not that big.
Do you know if there's any place that we can post that outside to see if the sun fades it? Maybe
Well,
any
I will tell you
material
that
difference?
red is the most fading color when
Okay.
you put it in the direct sunlight like that. And so I think our banners, I can't see them right now, but I think they have a lot of red on them. This one has a fair amount of red in it too. They have different colors. But this one does have the blue at the top and the bottom, which is kind of nice. But this is from Riley, and the quote that we have here is from Display Sales, so theirs is gonna look a little different from that too. I have pictures of what theirs look like, and they lean a little less on the red. A lot of them are blue, and I think the blue might hold up a little bit better.
Could we make a decision that we will replace all the banners that we have? And could we put out a call on Facebook or wherever to ask for additional
like this,
folks that may want it, to run the numbers up past our 25, and when we get there, then we can place that order and get it done that way?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that would
yeah.
work.
Yeah, thank you. That's one of the existing banners.
Yeah.
It's one of the damaged ones, yeah. That works for me, Councilman Huffman.
I got a little distracted when you were saying that. What were you saying?
I said that we could make a decision that we will replace the amount, all the banners that we have now, and we would put out a call on Facebook and through other means, seeing if any of the other citizens wanted to get a banner for their servicemen. And when we hit the 25 threshold to get our discount, then we would be able to place that order and get it rolling.
Okay, I think that's great. Is that a
Is
motion?
that a motion?
Would that be a motion?
I don't,
I mean, because it's not really.
no, it's a plan of action.
Yeah.
And when we get to 25, then we would make the motion that we would go
Yes.
with this
Okay,
company to
all right.
purchase.
So
Yes.
it's on hold till we get to 25, it sounds like.
Okay, so I guess the next step then is to put something
Yeah,
out on
I can
Facebook and see if
take
we
care
can.
of doing that, or have Colleen do it, one of us can do that.
Okay. All right.
Maybe I'll take a picture of that, just so folks know what we're talking about, and
Okay.
include that in the,
All right, and then the other banners, I'm still looking into them, and, well, I guess we need to talk about that for a second, too, because Riley is the one that actually produced banners for us, I guess, back in 2015, he said, and they were, or maybe even early in that 2012, when Sam was in office. I know Sam Pierce was.
while ago.
Yeah, and some of you may remember these banners. They were for different highlights in the town, like there was one for St. Paul's, and there was one for the girls' school that was up on Main Street, and one for Roop's Market, and different places in town. I think there were 11 of them. And, I don't know if you want to, we can have those redone and put back up, unless, I don't know if we still have them around. Do we still have them, Donna, do you know?
That would be a Wayne question.
Oh, that'd be a Wayne. Wayne, are you there?
I'm here. So we only have 3 or 4 of them, and they're in pretty bad shape, so we took them down for now.
Okay, and those, Wayne, those 2 banners that are hanging up in town that are of the fountain, are they part of that group as well?
They were, yes.
Yeah, 'cause-
I know those banners lasted for quite some time. I think they were made a lot better than the veterans banners that we ordered. They were really nice, and they highlighted different historical areas in town. So that was a pretty nice gesture.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty nice. I mean, as a citizen, I liked looking at them myself. But I will say that there's 2 that are still hanging up in town right now that are of the fountain, and they look kind of bad. They're red and they're so faded. I mean, they really should come down, because they just aren't enhancing the town, you know what I'm saying? One's up here and one's down up by the 7-Eleven. So those need to come down, but I guess what we could decide tonight is, do we want to redo the banners we have already done before, or do we want to move forward with different banners, or do we want to we could use those banners and then also get some seasonal banners that we could intersperse between them. So, we have 40 poles. If we have, say, 12 of them or 11 of them, then we could just get 29 or 30 other banners that we could put up on the other poles as well.
Now,
That would be like on the seasons and things.
So about last year, they had, they were looking into banners, the town. And there was a design put forward for a new, I think it was the fountain banner. Is that still in the works, or?
I have seen that design, and really, it looks to me the exact same as the banner that we have up now that is, so, I mean, we could certainly redo that, too.
Yeah, I was just wondering because, you know, there was a lot of debate from the council and at the time. So I didn't know if that was something that was, you know, something that was easy that we can order now, or if we were looking at a brand-new design.
Well, I guess that's what we have to decide. Do we want, you know, 30 fountains hanging up? I feel like, well, it's not really up to me, but you know what I mean? I'm just throwing it out there for discussion. Do we want 30 banners hanging up?
Yeah, I don't think, you know, I can't speak for everybody, but I don't think anybody wants to see the same exact sign for every pole. But, you know, is it something that we can do like these, the veteran banners where we can bundle them up and then maybe get a reduced price even if they're different designs? Or if it's one design, one price, could we order the fountains now, you know, or the next work session? And
Right,
then
I'm going to
move
have to
forward?
look into them a little bit more,
Yeah.
because if we want to do that, I'm not sure what the price is on those, so I'd have to look at that a little bit farther.
I mean, ideally, it would be nice to be able to save money by, you know, ordering 5 different designs, maybe 20, 30 different banners. But if they're going to tell us, no, you got to order per design, it might just be better to order the ones that we can now, and then, you know, work on new designs, and then that
Well,
way.
I think when they ordered those in the past, they only had one of each one. It was, so they were doing each one individually anyway, so they might be a little bit more expensive because there's a setup for each banner, you
They
know?
usually still give you a better price when you do it, like Will was saying, all at the same time. So it's probably worth doing a little bit more research,
Right,
finding out.
okay.
And also the size of the banners.
that
I'm
makes a big
assuming we
difference,
would
too.
want to try to reuse the hangers that we already have on the
Right.
poles, and then
exactly.
have the ease of.
I don't make it so
swapping.
much easier for the people putting them up
Are
and
they in good
down.
enough shape to reuse? Wayne?
I don't think so. He said there was only.
He said no, yeah.
Yeah.
So the original, so the large banners that Councilwoman Lindemann's speaking of, they're larger than the Veterans Banner. So I think in the past, we discussed about the banner size and keeping them the same as the Veterans Banners so we could utilize the same hardware. So moving forward, if we did purchase new Veterans Banners, we could use the new hardware and then kind of save the old hardware because sometimes vehicles hit them or they get broken or what have you. And then the welcome banners or the town fountain banners would be able to go on the same poles and we could try to just swap them out. I think that was the original idea.
Okay, I think that's a great idea to keep them all the same size. So
Yeah.
24 by 36, right, Wayne?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so I can look into that. And then the last thing I had was, tomorrow night there's a Music on the Main meeting. So that's all I have.
7 p.m., right?
Yes,
Okay.
right here.
You're welcome, thank you. Moving on to Public Works with Councilman Huffman.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The Public Works has been very busy this month with some water and sewer issues that I know Councilman Hall will talk about. But they also continue to do their regular mowing responsibilities. They've removed several dead trees at the walking trail, and they did some cleanup on the welcome sign coming in on Maryland 31, the most around the sign and such. You may have seen and noticed that. And the Planning Commission did meet in July. We held a discussion about future vacancies on the planning commission and what role the planning committee itself could play in the selection process. Chairman Schultz is going to be working on a planning committee process and procedures document. So we've always just run, but we've never really had a document that kind of laid out how we're supposed to operate, and he's going to be working on that. And the group also continued our review and update of the comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Councilman Huffman.
Yes.
One of the things that I guess was mentioned was potential recommendations to the council. Is that forthcoming, or is that something that's ready to be discussed, or?
Yeah, so we still need to get a little farther
Okay.
before we probably give you an update.
Yeah.
One of the big hurdles we have right now is data. We're waiting for census data to be given to us so that we can include it into it. So we have some holes in the document before I'd want to, and Planning Commission Chairman Schultz would want to talk to the council. We want to have a little of that filled in further first.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Moving on to Water and Sewer Committee with Councilman Hull.
All right. Wayne has been very busy with a lot of problems. We'll start on a good note. The pedestal tank, the work's been completed. The repairs have been done. It's been filled, and now they're just waiting on some test results to come back before they get the okay to open it back up. So big thanks to Wayne, Gary, and Mid-Atlantic for the repairs. Second, Wayne was able to replace an altitude valve at the chlorination tank site. So Wayne repaired that after he noticed some leaks. So great job, Wayne. Third, there's a Union Square water leak. Wayne went out there and found out that the hydrant was not closed fully at an internal drain. There was no fire department use of the hydrant, and he suspects that there was unauthorized use. So if anybody sees anybody filling up at a hydrant, anybody except the Public Works or the fire department, please report it to Town Hall. Next, the SCADA system. So Wayne has gotten pricing from 2 companies to perform upgrades, and they're under review, and we'll be discussing more of that at the work session. Next, Bowerstock's well. The storms have caused a few power issues, lightning strikes and such out there. So Wayne worked with Rodkey Electric to discuss mitigations. Rodkey feels that they can make repairs very cheap, so he's gonna work with them to fix some of the issues out there. And also, Director Myers is also investigating costs for a light-duty generator, so that if the power does go out, they have a generator for backup. Wayne's actually currently working on a power outage right now at the booster station, so he's working 24/7 to make sure that the water's flowing the right way and everybody's happy. So, big thanks to Wayne for coming when you should be off. That's all I got for now.
Got it, found it.
There we go.
Found it. All right, thank you, William. Anybody have any questions for him? Or Wayne, for that matter? All right, moving on to Public Safety with Councilman Cornick.
All right, good evening, everyone, again.
Good evening.
I'm going to defer the specifics to our Deputy Calusi on on National Night Out, but I will say that I attended National Night Out and was, I think, an enormous success. Also went to the luncheon at, gosh, I always forget the name of it.
Seasons at Magnolia.
Seasons at Magnolia. But no, that was a good luncheon. It was well attended, and again, I think it was a success. The other thing I wanted to bring up was that I've been getting consistent inquiries about speed in our community. just, one-on-one conversations, both one-on-one conversations and email, and thank you, Mayor, for sending that over to me. I did follow up with about the one inquiry, and I told them that we were looking at potential solutions to the speed issue. I don't have my arms around what we can do to eradicate the issue, but I do know that there are a lot of citizens in every community that are really concerned about the speed. I will say that, again, some people don't want to put things on Facebook or send in emails. They just kind of pull me up when they see me, hey, what are we doing about the speed? So, I kind of feel bad about it because I have a concern with it as well, but I don't have any solutions right now. I have a bunch of ideas and people have mentioned things. But I do think that we should probably, and I don't want to put this on the deputy because some of it is, he can't be everywhere at every time. So I just think it kind of goes beyond that. I think we need to find something as a group. The most recent question was as you're heading south on 31, heading into town, coming into New Windsor, one of the residents that lives in the reserves said that you hear the downshifting of the big trucks, and they're usually, either big dump trucks or, trucks that are hauling tanks. And I hear it, it doesn't bother me as much because I live a little further away. But if you live along that 31 corridor right there, it's almost like a little bit of a valley. And when the trucks come down that hill and they're slowing the trucks down and they're downshifting, it is loud. So I don't know what we can do about that. Obviously, we want to make the places pleasant for everyone, but I do think speed-wise, we need to figure something out. The big thing is speed bumps. I haven't investigated that. The most non-intrusive thing is one of the citizens mentioned lowering the speed limit to 25 throughout the town. I don't know if people aren't observing 30, I don't know if they'll observe 25, so we'll just, I just wanted the community to know about that. So.
I mean, I've seen other towns and jurisdictions where they had restrictions on engine brakes and all that, right? Have you seen it out and around anywhere?
There is, but you have to put modified braking systems or not.
Sorry, 1 second.
Don't be able to hear you.
You have to put modified braking systems and not engine brake, or not modified mufflers or something like that, because I see a lot of signs that say modified mufflers.
Right.
That's not the problem, it's
the engine brakes. It's the engine brake itself, right?
That's the engine brake, yeah.
Yeah.
But, so, new signs, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's also a tough issue because it's that hill's going down and it drops from, I think, 55 at the top.
Right.
Well, 45. It
Right.
goes from 55 to 45 and then
Right.
30.
55 to
40,
40,
yeah.
40.
and then to 30.
30.
And then
On your scooter's right there.
yeah.
Right.
So, you get a big rig trying to reduce that speed. It's always going to have downshifting and that noise, but
Right.
it's a tough area there.
Well, yes, specifically because you kind of have an incline, and so what they do is when they start back at the stockyard or by the lumber company, they're trying to increase their speed to get up the hill and then decrease to get, to slow down to the 30. So I thought about it today. Maybe we, find a way to lower it sooner, but then they'd have the issue with getting up the hill. So I don't know. We'll keep working on it. But I think that I don't think it's a frivolous request. So.
Right.
Well, I was just wondering if in terms of speed, you mentioned speed bumps, or do we have like any kind of a cost, what a speed bump would cost, or rumble strips or something like that?
I'm going to speak on behalf of the fire department. They're going to say absolutely not for speed bumps. The reason being, it slows down their response. And if they're, if you're a patient in the medic unit, they don't want the bounciness. So there's other traffic calming devices where they can make the, like bump outs, where it makes the road smaller. It's just the visual appearance. So, yeah. But again, that causes drainage issues, so There's all kinds of stuff.
Bump outs in the road where you have like where you're deflecting or,
Yeah, so it would be a bump out, so like the curb would come out closer to the white line or the fog line.
right,
So it makes it look narrower,
right.
or they put islands in the center of the road, so then it's traffic calming, so then they have to go slow down around that island. So,
But we have to remember that Maryland Route 31 is a state road as
Yes,
well.
absolutely.
We do not have the authority just to put a speed bump up or neck down the road.
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah.
anything like that. We have to work through the state to mitigate those problems.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of work ahead to try to get this resolved, you know, so,
And the
no, I
fact-
appreciate that.
The fastest thing that possibly the state can do, so Chris Lenanche works for the county, and he mentioned that if the speed's an issue, to get a bigger sign, so put an interstate size speed limit sign so that they see it.
That
To
may
draw
work.
more attention to it. But again, you'd have to talk to the state for, or 31, but
You know, as long as I've been living in New Windsor, and for as long as I've been on the council and coming to council meetings, which I did for a long time before I was on the council, this has been a conversation that we've had in this town. And there's no simple solution to it. And I almost feel like, Councilman Cornick, that maybe it's something that, because public safety is under your purview, that maybe it's time to put a little work group together. Maybe some citizens would like to volunteer, maybe some of you out in the meeting via Zoom would like to consider volunteering, but, you know, we're gonna need to involve the county, we're gonna need to involve the state, and we have done some things, like they got rid of some parking out here to make it more visible, coming across, you know, up and down Church, and they painted new stripes, because, like Deputy Calusi said, that there's some small evidence that the visual narrowing of the lane helps. And there's a person who used to live up there who parked a trailer all the time, which was kind of annoying, but it actually slowed everybody down, so, you know. But, I mean, it's going to be a multi-pronged solution, or, you know, solution, I don't know if we're gonna solve it, but, I mean, there's communities where they make some of the streets one way. I mean, I live on the corner of Church and High Street, and I walk at 5:30 in the morning every morning, and let me tell you, the speed that people come down that street is scary, and they blow through the stop signs, you know. Of course, when Deputy Calusi's sitting there, they don't do that, but, you know, so, you know, and those are not people who live in New Windsor. Those are people who are cutting through New Windsor and speeding, because they don't care, because they don't live here. But, you know, that would be my suggestion as somebody who's been hearing about this for 20 years, and some things, like the stop signs on Church Street, those of you who haven't lived here that long, those didn't used to exist. And one of the reasons those were put in was to slow people down, and it did help. But, I mean, we had traffic surveys, the county lent us counters, you know, maybe we need to identify the streets that are the problems, get some counting of the number of vehicles, because they count speed also, don't they, some of them?
I do believe.
Yeah, so, you know, we get some data, so we have some ammunition, and then sort of get a group together and start talking about some things we can do to address this, because I agree, it is a problem, and Deputy Calusi does a great job, but he can't be sitting on every street in New Windsor 24/7, so, you know. My 2 cents.
Thank you.
Could I add something, please? This is Gary.
Please.
In terms of, Councilman Huffman brought up, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Huffman brought up the fact that we as a town cannot do anything on 31. That's a state issue. Everybody's aware of that. In terms of what we can do in terms of traffic calming on town roads, there's no simple, easy solution with traffic calming. Every option, every possibility has benefits and issues. The main thing with traffic humps is plowing. It's a plowing issue. The islands, the bump outs that slow people down visually, that they work, but there's drainage concerns with those. So I just wanted to point out that I have looked into possible layout of speed bumps over on Lampert, because that was, a while back, was considered a cut through town. But again, there's no easy, simple, one solution fix all for cut through traffic or for traffic calming. But we can only address the town roads on that. I agree that it's an issue. It always is. It always has been. It's in every town, and like Councilman Schultz said, it's not necessarily the people that live here in town. It's the people that are driving through that won't care. But I think possibly a group, a committee or something with state, local, council and citizens would be a step in the right direction to at least get the discussion going and possibly come up with something. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Now, the only thing that I would like to add there too is, now when they put the no turn signs, I believe on Church Street, I think it's between 4 and 7 p.m.
Virgin Lambert, yeah.
Or, yeah. If we're gonna pull data for certain things, could we also pull data on possibly if that's effective, if that has been helping? Maybe, I guess, interviewing some residents. Hey, we got the data now.
No. So talking to the residents that live there, they said it has definitely cut down the traffic. So they said that there is some that still disobey their signs, but they said it has greatly reduced the amount of traffic. And I forgot what Gary brought up when we were talking about Lambert with speed bumps. Manhole covers, driveways. So pretty much on Lambert, you're only going to get like a speed bump because of the access to the driveways. You can't block driveways with speed bumps, manhole covers, so on and so forth. So you got to take all that into account as well. So.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Anyone else have anything else to add? No. We're going to move on to economic development with Councilwoman Schultz.
All right, thank you. So just a couple of quick updates. The Carroll County Economic Development newsletter just came out, and that has a lot of great workshops for small businesses, so I'll post some of that information on the Facebook page. Also, for your information, next week, the 8th through the 15th, is Carroll County Restaurant Week. So I'm not sure if any of our local restaurants are participating, but I'll try to find out, and if they are, I'll see if we can get that information posted. And we should just always support them anyways. And just an economic development plug for Music on the Main. Any folks who are listening, any folks in the room, any folks who watch this later, if you have a small business or if you represent an organization, we'd love to have you as a vendor at that event. It's free. There is a $25 charge, but that's just to hold your spot, and if you show up, you get the $25 back. So we'd like to have more organizations from the town and the area be present at Music on the Main, and they can contact Town Hall to get the form. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone have anything to add? Moving on to the town manager, Gary Dye, and his report.
Good evening, everybody. Glad to be back here. I do have two items I want to update everybody on. The rebid of engineering services for the New Windsor wastewater treatment plant, ENR upgrade, and preliminary engineering report. So our RFPs were due Friday, July 30th by 10 a.m. We received 4 proposals from engineering firms. The proposals will be reviewed, evaluated, and scored based on 5 weighted criteria categories. There's a 3-person selection committee, which is comprised of Wayne Myers, Director of Public Works, Mike Reynolds, Circuit Rider, and myself as Town Manager. The schedule that we have that we're trying to meet is to have a recommendation for an engineering firm at the August 16th work session meeting for approval by council. Once the council approves the selection, then the selected engineering firm, their RFP, and a bunch of other required documentation will be submitted to the Maryland Department of Environment for their official approval and review. Their approval takes approximately a month on that. So that's kind of where we are with that. The other thing I have to update on is one of the good things, I guess fortunate things of being out and working from home. I've been able to work a lot on the Frank G. Schaefer Memorial 5K run walk. We've had some changes to location, but we've working with City of Westminster Rec and Parks, we've moved the location to what is now Wakefield Valley Park. which is now owned by the city of Westminster. They have an established course. They ran their Celtic Canter 5K there in March of this year. So the course is all established. There's good parking, and Abby Gruber, who's the director, has been instrumental in getting that in place and helping us, since I can no longer maintain the course we wanted to do outside of town. So anyway, there's been a lot of work on the race here in the last month or so. A list of approximately 40 potential sponsors have been developed. A sponsor request letter and sponsor application form has been developed and is being sent out to potential sponsors. There's a race flyer and save the date that was developed that Abby Gruber also helped with, that's out and for advertising. And basically advertising is for the race is well underway right now. We got it posted on the website, the Facebook. We're going to post it on the bulletin board. All the potential sponsors that I'm reaching out to, including the 7 other municipalities, I'm asking them to, I'm sending them the letter and the application, but I'm also asking them to spread the word in their municipalities. So Kalina and myself have been working on T-shirt design, and actually Kalina put together today, pulling pictures off the internet and then putting things together. We have a rough logo going. With that, we've been in touch with Spiderweb, who we can get the shirts from, and they're going to offer a nice quality performance type T-shirt at what I feel is a very good price. The race logo and information will be on the front, and then the sponsors will be listed on the back. We have that sponsor application I mentioned has a tier system set up, so that tier 1 is like a $400 sponsor, tier 2 is $200, tier 1 is $100. Then we have water donations, we have food donations. We need volunteers. So there's many ways that we can pitch in and help. And I feel reaching out to 40 plus groups or companies, we're going to get a pretty good turnout there. And so we pretty much started this week hammering out those requests. So I worked with the Westminster Roadrunners Club to set up the race website on runsignup.com. That's where people can go on and get information on the race and sign up for the race. Like I mentioned, we're also looking for volunteers to work the race. The race is Saturday, October 2nd at 9 a.m. And then there's some information that I put together in terms of how to register. There's a couple ways. 2 ways you can register. You can go to Westminster Roadrunner site, which is www.wrrcclub.com. And this information will be at Town Hall, or you can email me and I can gladly send it. And then there's 2 links or 2 places where you can click on the Frank G. Schaefer Memorial Race, and that takes you to the runsignup.com site. And again, it's the Frank G. Schaefer Memorial 5K. Or you can go directly to runsignup.com and find Frank's race in there and click the sign up button, put your information in. The sponsor applications and early race registration is $25 with a guaranteed T-shirt. That ends Saturday, September 18th at 11:59 p.m. And then the late registration for the run walk will start Sunday, the 19th at 12 a.m. and run until Friday, October 1st at 11:59 p.m. The cost on the late registration goes up to $35, and there's no guarantee on the T-shirt with the late registration. The run walk, I said, is at 9 a.m. Saturday, and it's at Wakefield Valley Park, which is 1000 Fenby Farm Road. It's the old Wakefield Valley Golf Course in Westminster. And the packet pickup is going to open at 7:30 a.m. with the 9 a.m. race start. So please help spread the word and consider participating, sponsoring, and or volunteering for the event. And feel free to contact me, or Kalina has been very involved as well, if you have any questions or want to discuss the event. I just had 2 quick notes on my schedule with PT and surgery for August. I'll be working in at Town Hall Mondays through Thursdays, and working around my PT schedule on Monday and Wednesday, which is scheduled in the mornings. I should lose this sling and have the ability to drive come August 27th. So I will be able to prepare the agenda for the August 16th work session and attend virtually. And then I will be able to prepare the September 1st council agenda and should be able to attend in person for that meeting. I will be unable to prepare the September 20th work session agenda or attend the meeting as I'll be out of the country from September 9th until September 20th. So Mayor Green, I'm going to have to get you to help me or help with that and prepare the agenda for the 9/20 work session. So that's all I have. I just want to let everybody know my adjusted schedule.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. You're welcome. Moving on to Public Works, and it's Wayne Myers. Go ahead.
Mayor, I think he signed off. He was going back to check on the power issues.
You know, he did send me an email. I forgot to just correct it. We'll move on to Community Deputy Calusi then. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
The Sheriff's Office, between the dates of July 1 to July 31st, responded to 59 calls for service. Within the town limits, out of those 59 calls for service, only 4 required reports, which were the following. On July 7th at approximately 10:07 a.m., deputies conducted a traffic stop outside of town for a traffic infraction in the area of Maryland 31 and Wakefield Valley Road. At that time, the deputy observed 3 children not secured in the required child safety seats. The deputy advised the driver not to move the vehicle until the children were secured in the required child safety seats, which the driver advised that they had planned for someone to bring the child safety seats. Approximately 10 minutes after the stop, the deputy observed the vehicle enter New Windsor, which the deputy felt was not a reasonable amount of time for the driver to obtain the required child safety seats. The deputy then observed the children, again, not secured in the required child safety seats, at which time a traffic stop was completed on the vehicle. Once again, in the 100 block of Main Street, the deputy again confirmed that the driver had failed to obtain and secure the children in the required child safety seats. The driver was charged once again for failing to secure the children under the age of 8 in the required child safety seats and charged with child neglect. Case was closed by arrest. On July 7th at approximately 3:03 p.m., deputies responded to the sheriff's office regarding a fraud. Upon arrival, it was learned that the victim was contacted by an unknown subject claiming to be working with the sheriff's office. The victim advised that the unknown subject stated that they had a warrant out for their arrest, and to avoid arrest, they needed to provide 2 green dot money cards, which the victim complied. Victim did not have a warrant. An investigation revealed that the money was transferred to Canada. Case was suspended. On July 27th at approximately 7:59 p.m., deputies responded to the 100 block of Main Street regarding an animal cruelty incident. Investigation revealed that the caller had witnessed a subject forcibly throw a dog to the ground and began punching the dog multiple times in the face with a closed fist. The witness then observed the subject then forcibly threw the dog into the rear compartment of a vehicle and began punching the dog in the face once again with a closed fist. The subject was later identified, however, could not be located. The case was forwarded to the Carroll County Humane Society for further investigation. Case was closed on our end. On July 31st at approximately 9:04 p.m., deputies responded to the 100 block of Main Street regarding a residential burglary. Investigation revealed that unknown suspects entered the residence through an unlocked window and stole medications and money. Investigation was suspended due to the lack of evidentiary leads. All participants mentioned above are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Other notes: National Night Out was held last night at the Carnival grounds. I want to thank everyone who helped support the event with their generous donations and manpower, because without that, the event wouldn't have been as successful as it was. For those who attended the event, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again next year. And thinking about it, after reviewing how much food we went through, I'm going to say we probably did about 300 to 400 attendees probably showed up last night.
Good job, Brian.
Yep. Other than that, the other thing is as you can see, I got a new computer because I picked up a brand-new vehicle today. It has, when I picked it up, it only had 34 miles on it, so.
Nice.
Yeah, so you'll be seeing me cruising in style now. So other than that, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, go ahead, or you can, if I may, Deputy Calusi is a pretty modest gentleman, and I'm going to tell you, I witnessed him. I got there at 7:30 yesterday morning, and he had already had tables and things set up, and I mean, the guy worked incredibly hard to do this, so congratulations to you on a job well done. He was there the entire day. I actually had to go home and take a nap because, no, but Deputy Calusi did an excellent job. He organized the luncheon and everything else. We set up I don't know if we got many patrons to actually do our obstacle course, but we set up an obstacle course for the kids. But, you know, a lot of hard work and effort went into that, and we've got a spot for you for the music on the main if you'd like to help us out.
Oh, boy, okay.
Hey, start with the sugar and you come back with the work. Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything? All right, moving on to the fire chief report. Is somebody going to give it, or you want me to give it?
Yeah, he
you have it.
couldn't be
Okay.
here tonight, so I'll read his report. Calls for the month of July, there were 35 fire, bringing a total yearly for fire of 201. There were 71 EMS calls, bringing the yearly total to 489. And a thanks to everyone who attended the National Night Out. It was a big success. And just a reminder that Tuesday night bingo has started back up, and hope to see you all there. They're having a crab feed on September the 18th from 5 to 8 p.m. at $50 a person, and the details are on the fire department website, which is www.nwfd10.org.
Thank you. We're going to move on to your treasure report down at Albin. You're up again.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Just a brief summary. I sent out final yearly reports to you all, both on the enterprise fund and the general fund. Everything is in. Okay. So it looks like, all in all, we had a very good year considering. So once you've had a chance to really peruse over it, just feel free to email me or stop in if you have any questions. And I'm going to be reaching out tomorrow to the audit firm to try and get a date pinpointed for when they're going to start the annual audit. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Is Kalina available tonight? Did anybody? No, she's not coming in tonight.
Mayor, she's not available, but I do have her report, and I will read that if you would. She and her husband have recently purchased a house, and are in the process of starting to move today and the rest of this week. So she asked if I would read her report, which I will do now. The water bills are due August 7th, 2021. The next monthly due date is August 20th. If you'd like to pay monthly, please contact Kalina at the town office to fill out a form for the monthly agreement. And as always, if you're having issues with paying your bill, please contact Kalina, and she'll be more than willing to work with you. She's always good at doing that. And then 3 is just to mention that the music on the main. Right now, we only have 5 vendors so far, so please reach out to friends, family, businesses, whatever, to see if they know of any vendors who would like to participate, and just reach out to Kalina to get the vendor information on that. So that's all she had in her report.
Thank you. We're going to move on to some new business, and we have the music on main resolution.
I'll kick that off. So we have the music on the main resolution. That's something we have to do every year. That authorizes the town of New Windsor to allow the consumption and possession of open containers on the private property. So that's our quarantined area, so to speak, that we have the event on. So as part of the liquor license that I'll be applying for, we need to have the resolution signed by our mayor. So I'll make a motion, we're going to give it a number, Donna, the resolution number?
Yeah. It'd be 08-04-21.
So I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 08-04-21.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those not in favor? Five. Ayes have it, 5-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, moving on to some other new business. And I know we've talked about it before. I've gotten another complaint in the previous month about water leaking at Schneider Summit. I know I talked to Wayne and Gary about it. I know you guys were working on it. Did you speak with those guys?
So,
I believe I sent an email to Paul Mueller, the developer, for Schneider Summit. But I'll follow up and check to see without just getting back. I believe I did before I left.
Right.
For Schaefer. But yeah, you have two entities there. You have the developer who's responsible, that's Mueller Homes, Paul Mueller. They're responsible for the infrastructure, the roads, the sidewalks, the curb gutters, and storm drains, and stormwater facilities and that kind of thing. And then you have Bob Ward Homes that are in there with building the homes. So, that's the two different entities that are there.
Have they pinpointed the issues of it, or what the cause of it is?
As far as I understand it, and it's not an uncommon problem that occurs during the development of new subdivisions. You get houses that are built and stabilized with grass, and everything's stabilized for when it rains, and the storm drain system is in. But right next door or right down the street, you have area that's completely barren and where they're still doing work and it's disturbed, and you get heavy rain events, which in summertime is common, and there's sediment control and which is temporary, and then sediment and then stormwater management in place. But that falls under during the construction part of the subdivision. The stormwater and the sediment control falls under purview of Carroll County. They have the requirements. They make sure that the sediment control measures are in and the stormwater facilities are in. And again, things are built in phases, so it's not uncommon to have issues like this. But I don't know specifically if they've addressed the exact issue that's going on up there.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything with that? Basically, it's just water leaking into their basements, and it's pretty bad. We had those big storms a couple weeks ago, and it was
I heard from somebody too. So,
right.
yeah.
So I just wanted to have that addressed, that the town is, at least doing our part with reaching out to those two other entities. All right, moving on to some old business. We have the coronavirus funding application, basically to assist residents. William's going to extend on that.
yeah, so one of the things, obviously, we have the ARPA money, the first half of it. So thinking of some ideas. One of the ideas that I had, we have about 50,000 in late water bills. Residents that haven't been able to pay. There's about 50 households, and this is numbers that before the most current bill. So that number could potentially have gone up or down. So I'll have to get back with Kalina to get some more current numbers. But what we're looking at is about $50,000 in late water bills, 50 households with an average of $1,200 per household past due. So one of the things that I was thinking that we can use the ARPA money for, which in the 50-page document specifically pointed out that you can use ARPA funds to help assist with relief for residents that are affected by COVID. So they would need a COVID hardship. So what I would propose is an application for residents that have had a COVID hardship to apply for the amount that they are late, to get them back in current so that they can start fresh and not have to worry about something that could be like $2,000 pulling them down and never being able to pull out. Now, I know Kalina has worked with a lot of residents, been able to assist them, but when you're talking $2,000 and then, you know, credit card bills, mortgage and stuff on top of that, if we could use $50,000 at most, which would be about, I calculated out roughly 3% of the ARPA money to help residents that need relief. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts, maybe some modifications, whatever you guys think would be beneficial to have in a application, if you guys had anything.
I like the concept of the application. I was wondering what thoughts you have about how, because I would probably fall on the staff to evaluate whether or not someone experienced a COVID hardship.
I mean,
Have you thought, I mean.
yeah. So they would have to attest that they had a COVID hardship. Now, if you guys wanted to require some documents or anything to prove that, that would then be an extra burden on the staff. We could have a system where it's you get it notarized, and then that way you're swearing that you do have a COVID hardship.
So Will, I agree that the ARPA funding does allow for this kind of thing. There's no question on that. So, and again, as Councilwoman Schultz says, I do like the idea of an application, because one of the things that we have to do is we have to be totally transparent and totally audible with all of this money. So we can't just, you know, them even pay their bill, we'll say we'll pay their bill. There has to be a documentation trail on that. So whatever mechanism we choose, whether it's some kind of form that they fill out or some kind of notarization, we need to have that for our records. We're going to be required to show that. I also feel that, you know, as town residents, the town really needs that $50,000 because our water and sewer system is, you know, it pays for itself. So there's no other funding going in there. So if people don't pay, or we don't collect the money for the water bill, the town as a whole is out that $50,000. And if you compound that over a while, the only way to make that up is to raise rates so that we can collect that money. The system has to operate. So I'm certainly not opposed to doing something like that. I think that we need to put that down on our list of activities that we would want to spend that money on, and spend a little time developing some kind of mechanism that will ensure that we have the auditability for that, and that the residents who were certainly in need have the ability to apply for it, and that we could help them out.
Certainly, and that's kind of the idea of this initial meeting, just to see if you guys thought that would be a great idea, and if so, we can start working. I could start working with Michelle to see if there's any legal document that we have to include in that application. Start rolling the ball on that. So, I mean, if everybody thinks that's a great idea, I didn't want to. If everybody's opposed to it, I didn't want to have to burden Michelle with creating a document.
So I would also suggest that if you have not had a chance to read the county document that Gary had sent out this past week from Roberta Wyndham up at the Westminster. Westminster did a wonderful job laying out their projects, putting a quad chart in of the risks and how they were going to be able to prioritize those. So I think that's something that we as a town, although we'll never have that many projects and we don't have that kind of money, but it would help us, I think, scope the things that we want to do with that money, and again, that'll be part of the audibility, the trail that we have. And you know, we have some time, but we really don't have a lot of time because that money really has a time that it has to be spent, not only allocated, but spent. So we're going to have to spend some cycles really concentrating on that effort.
Do the other two council members have any thoughts or comments?
Well, I'll defer to you if you,
Well, I just was wondering, do we encourage people to, like, I mean, I don't know, are they encouraged to pay what they can towards it, to keep it, or to pay, like, say if they couldn't afford up till now, but from now going forward, they can, and to pay what they can going forward, and we'll see what we can, I just don't know how all that works with the town.
Yeah, that's the whole thought of this, is to bring things current for the resident. So, I mean, just talking to some residents, I know a big concern is, yes, they can pay $100 here, $100 there, and they do that. But the problem is when you have bills piling up and the mortgage piling up, every little bit just seems like you're never going to get out. So if we could, at least for the water bill, make them current so that, as the new water bills come in, they can really pay towards those and not have to worry about, I'm paying and it just keeps sinking and getting further and further.
so I have a couple questions. First of all, I admire your compassion for the citizens of New Windsor. I know that we talked about this initially, and what I say is, obviously, the 50,000, and to Councilman Huffman's point, the 50,000 is going to be needed on the water system, as you mentioned earlier. So it's kind of taking it from one hand and moving it to the other, in the sense that we're going to have expenditures that exceed that, and we're going to be short the 50,000. Now, I'm not well-versed on all of the criteria for using the funding, so I will admit to that. But I will say that when we brought it up before, Town Clerk Albin said that, and Councilwoman Schultz said there is a program that's already available. And, I don't think that we should overlap an existing assistance program to create one that does good, but really kind of puts us in a bad way too. So, I think we should, and I think we should be, verification of hardship, to me, should be pretty extensive, and I don't know that we have the resources to do that. I'm not, totally not against helping people in need, but if folks had issues prior to COVID and those have just rolled into COVID, I don't see that as justification for the use of those funds, when you may do a goodwill effort towards 50 citizens, but then in turn, we're at a hardship. Again, I'm all for helping people in need, but there's a lot of investigation that would have to go into that. If there are citizens who had pre-existing deficits in their bill, and then COVID was compounded it, all of us, I can tell you, I had some impact on my household too. How do we discern whether those existing things were there prior to it or what? That's a pretty big undertaking. So I just think there is a lot of work involved in that. And again, I don't know how we answer the use of the other, how do we turn around and make up the difference that we're going to need? We're seriously going to need some help.
So I can only speak on two of those points. The first point with the assistance. So the assistance I did look into, the assistance you would have for the eligibility for the water utility.
Right.
You would have to already be eligible for the food and I believe housing assistance as well. So you would already have to be on those programs to then be eligible for the water assistance.
Right.
So that limits the amount of people as well, because you certain you have to be so far below the federal minimum. So it's a smaller number as well.
Smaller, so I apologize for interrupting, but are
Yeah.
you saying that that would, you said we have about a $50,000 deficit in fees that are being paid? Are you,
As in,
He's
let me
talking
clarify.
about, he's talking about HSP, which is the Community Action Agency for Carroll County. They have a utility assistance program, but
Right.
it is income-based.
correct?
So
So-
not everybody that owes money to the town is eligible for HSP assistance.
Yeah, so like, if that
Understood.
was the case, it would, people that would be on there probably would already have that now. I was looking into maybe making that another checkbox to the application. However, it's still, then the county staff would have to verify that they're enrolled, and I'm not even sure that we could, as the town, could ask the county.
I can tell you can.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's that's all private record, so it puts a legal burden on the town to include things like that. And then the second point was for the making up the difference point. The one good thing about this too is that the town is not necessarily losing the $50,000. That $50,000 would be reimbursed to the funds that are missing in the water rate. So
We would be subsidizing the deficit.
we would be helping the residents.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
I mean, now, to my original point about so let's say you said 50, if the criteria included being a part of an existing program,
Correct.
does that cut that number down to 25?
If it did, we would never be able to verify that.
Okay. So, I guess, I don't know the process in determining what the actual qualifications or who would be qualified, because I would venture to say that if we did a stringent evaluation of it, it would cut it down, and maybe $25,000 would be the actual outlay, so.
Yeah,
Councilman Hull, it sounds like what you wanted to do tonight was ask us all if we were willing to have this conversation, and I don't think we're going to resolve it.
Yeah,
tonight.
no, we're not going to be able to vote on anything until we have an
But everybody's,
application.
but you're asking, is everybody willing to consider this and talk about it at a future
Is it
meeting?
worth the time to go to Michelle and make sure that we work up a
This is
document?
more of a work session.
It's a
issue.
work session, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to say, because if everybody said, forget it, we're not going to do that, then what would, I mean, I'm willing to talk about it and do some more research, and we'll see what we find out, Right?
I'm in agreement with that.
I'll get started, and we'll have more at the
You're
work
a good
session.
researcher.
Okay, Michelle.
Can I say something real quick while we're on the subject? I think it's all good ideas and good valid points that the council's made. Speaking on behalf of the staff and this town manager, I'll use a term that you hear a lot in the engineering and construction world. It's means and methods of being able to do this. That is a big concern of mine. I think in terms of the application, one thing to consider is we're going to need dates, both in the past, how far we're going back, and also moving forward. This has basically got to be a one-time deal covering a certain amount of time period. My other concerns are what everyone else has expressed is how do we legally and actually determine the criteria that's out there, the need. It's going to be something that you all have to work together and develop a good application if we decide to go forward with it. So that's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, would you like to add? Ms. Ostrander?
Yeah,
I thought I heard my name.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Mr. Mayor. What was the question? What I was going to suggest is I think that waiting until the work session does give us the opportunity, Councilman Hall and myself and Mr. Dodd, to look at both what the criteria are that might be in the ARPA documents, because there's a lot of those, and then figure out the best way. I think part of the whole rationale of all of that money is to help the jurisdictions like us who have had a loss, which is what that 50K of unpaid water bills is, to recoup them. So I think there might be more than one way to skin that cat, and I think it's a good idea for us to take a little time to look at that, but I apologize, I missed the question. Unless,
No, that was it.
That was it.
That was it.
maybe I didn't miss the question.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, why don't we do that, and then we'll bring something back to you. And insofar as the staff is concerned, here, I'm gonna throw somebody under the bus. Perhaps having one or two members of the council on the committee of people determining whether an application should be accepted or not might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll do some more research. I'll reach out to you, Michelle, and then hopefully we'll bring something more to the work session.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ooh. 1 second here. Does anybody else have anything they want to add with that? Everybody's good with that so far? Good. Moving on, we're gonna talk about the town hall audio issues again, where I'm just gonna let everybody know, let the residents know that we are working on it. Yes, we've had issues. It doesn't seem to be too many hiccups tonight. And again, I've been reaching out to the CMC guys. They've been a great resource, a wealth of information and knowledge. Okay, and that's what it's gonna take for any platform to work. I know that William's been working on Teams, and everyone's gotten their little Teams, thing from William, but we are working on it. And again, I'll be attending, the Hampstead meeting on the 7th to see what, their system entails and if it would possibly even be feasible for us to have and own something, even of this manner. Okay?
And so the only thing I have to add to that is that tonight we are having great experiences with audio.
Right.
Because CMC is here. So I just want to remind everybody that at the work session, we will not have CMC. So we definitely need to find a solution by then.
We are working on this. Everyone knows this, right? Okay. Sharon already took care of the Christmas decoration selection and quotes, along with the Hometown Hero banner selection and quotes, and we're just going to move forward with resident concerns. So if we could just one at a time, if there's someone in the audience that would like to come up and speak into the closest microphone, that would be great. You have to come on up here and give me your name and your address again. Okay. I'll let you just write it right here on my pad so we can get it later. There you are, sir. Yep, you can just write it right there.
Okay. My name is Ronald Wareheim, 109 Springdale Avenue. Okay. And I just asked about the loud music, what the ordinances said about that, or what, I assume somebody looked that up and found out what the ordinances said, and I just want to know where I stand.
Okay, so you heard the lady, the owner, when she was here, she said that she basically wasn't going to be all that loud. She knows and understands that it was loud at that time.
Right.
And she said that she would be shutting it off at 10 o'clock. That's all I know.
Yeah, normally she shut it off at 10 o'clock. Now, this is something out of the ordinary.
Right.
But even some of the other times, it's louder than it ought to be. And I said something to them a couple times about it, and they said, well, we haven't turned it down, or we tell them they'd like to have it turned up, but the customer would like it louder.
Mm-hmm. Now, this was since everyone was here?
This was before.
Okay,
This was
let's give her some time, let's see what she does, and we can go from there.
They only had small parties.
I understand.
So, I don't want to shut her down or anything like that. I just want to be able to enjoy my property.
Have you heard or seen anything abnormal since?
Nothing else loud.
Okay, well, let's just continue that, and if there is an issue, don't hesitate to bring it up. Okay, thank you.
I will add this to the gentleman's concern. So, about 2 weeks ago, I did hear music around 9 o'clock, and I mean, almost, so I drove down and parked in the parking lot, and I'm telling you, 9:30 it was done.
Right.
And it was so that was a good, good occurrence, and it's positive, so we'll keep monitoring it. I don't want to speak out of turn and say what I know, say the code, because I don't know if the ordinance says 9 or 10.
It's 10.
It's 10?
Yeah, it's 10.
All right, so I don't live far, and I can hear it when they do it, so you'll have my commitment that I'll at least ride by there and see, and see what's going on.
Springdale, I'll just put that down.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine, I can
And
imagine.
I am good friends with them.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
because I want them to really succeed in what they want to do. But this was a one-time thing that it was that loud.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping
Yep.
it wouldn't be that loud anymore.
No, I think the owner's intent is to work with the community and be a positive contribution or a positive member of the town. So, like I said, I'll keep monitoring it from an unofficial standpoint, and if I hear things and if it goes beyond 10, I'll let you guys know, and you do the same. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone
Thanks.
else here? How about out in the Zoom world? Does anyone have anything they wish to say? I don't think anyone has their hands up. Nope. All right, does anybody else have anything else before we adjourn?
Mayor, one thing real quick, I forgot to mention, there is the 5K run walk meeting, is August 18th at 3 o'clock at Town Hall. Just forgot to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you. If no one has anything else, I move to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Thanks everyone for coming and attending virtually, okay?
All right, good night from Texas.
Good night.
Thanks, Cheryl.